You can parody and make fun of almost anything, but that does not turn the universe into a caricature. This quote by Bernard Beerson is something that coupled the idea of the caricature of John Renoir depicted by David Levine. Following the history of caricatures, the photo of John Renoir embodies the spirit of political and cultural cartoons. But unlike others, this painting shows the subject in a more positive manner and is depicted as a tribute to a world-renowned film director, rather than an infamous celebrity or politician, as many caricatures do. When seeing many of the year's past caricatures, we can see that many people that were seen in popular culture, whether they be political, as many were, actors/actresses, or CEOs, they are often depicted as negative or in a generally bad light. David Levine, unlike many others, tend to break this role. In his depiction of Jean Renoir, David Levine uses the power of caricatures to pay honor to a great film director. In the painting of Jean Renoir, you can see how David Levine allows him to stand in such a way that the viewer can see him as an upstanding and cultured man. And rather than drawing a background of awards and other things that Jean Renoir had accomplished, he simply drew a video recorder to accent Jean Renoir and what he had been known for. One other way in which David Levine paid tribute to Jean Renoir in the painting is by simply the clothes that he wore. Rather than depicting Jean Renoir as highfalutin or wearing things that he wouldn't normally wear, he decided to put the clothes that the French director often wore. And while the depiction of the character broke the molds from other traditions, the traditional style of the drawing follows suit with some other drawings of caricatures. They are typically drawn in black and white, as is the drawing of Jean Renoir. They are also exaggerated in some way, and this is the same with this piece of art. As you can tell from the drawing, the face of Jean Renoir is clearly exaggerated. While he is old, David Levine stuck to some traditional aspects of caricatures and exaggerated the face of Renoir. In the picture, not only does he look old, but it is almost as if the face is somewhat mummy-like. You can also see the exaggeration of the proportions of the face to the body and how they're not similar to a human. The body is much smaller than the face, and the head is generally too large. Again, these are just some of the things that are characteristic of caricatures. When seeing some of the following pictures, you can see how they are depicted differently in terms of how they were meant to be seen to the public. This is a picture of a traditional political caricature. Many of these political caricatures show the politician either in a negative light or poking fun at them about something. This is something that is not done by David Levine in his depiction of Jean Renoir. It is simply an upstanding depiction of a great man, unlike this politician, which is meant to be shown in a much more negative light. This is another example of a negative use of caricature-style drawings. This is showing how certain politicians can be easily convinced by the media. This again is showing something that the depiction of Jean Renoir does not. It shows that many political cartoons and caricatures are negative in some fashion. This political cartoon is meant to make fun of the particular politician, and it's just not the case with the drawing of Jean Renoir. In both political cartoons, you can see how the face and the words of each show how they were meant to be seen as negative. In the first, the man is very mean-spirited looking and is clearly meant to be shown in a negative light. The second is shown in a negative light through the use of words, which kind of shows the politician's incompetence. This drawing, on the other hand, is a drawing of John Updike, also by David Levine, and it is an example of another tribute to a great man in the form of a caricature. This shows John Updike in a high manner, and is in no way a depiction of him in a negative light. This is the style that David Levine draws his pictures, and is very similar to the meaning and context of his interpretation of Jean Renoir. As you can see, many of the photos done by David Levine show his caricatures in a high manner. This is contrary to many other political cartoons and caricatures that are out there currently. This is the case with many of his drawings, and is certainly the case with the photo of Jean Renoir. Signing off, this is Anthony McCoy.